Welcome to the Public Figure Society podcast, where innovation meets influence. If you're building a brand, leading a movement, or shaping the future, you are in the right place. We bring you the insights, strategies, and stories that fuel the world's most impactful public figures. It is time to step up, stand out, and leave your mark. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Public Figure Society podcast, and I am really excited to have Dave Waltzer, who I met at his famous Wicked Awesome Happy Hour, which I go to, and we chatted, and I was completely flabbergasted. The whole restaurant was filled with people. People were bustling. I talked to people, they've gone there for years, and I was like, who is Dave? And then I got to talk to you, and I was like, Dave, you got to come on and talk about, because it's so important today. How do we network, and what do we do now post-COVID? So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Torne, for having me on. It was great to meet you at Wicked Awesome Happy Hour. I'm so psyched that you got to experience it, because really some things are tougher to explain than to just experience. And you're exactly correct. As far as networking, one of the things that we all learned during COVID that we didn't even know that we wanted to learn or needed to learn was the power of person-to-person connection. Zoom is wonderful. All these other modalities of communication are great. But as humans, we crave connection in, communion with each other, right? As far as in the same space and all these things. And my happy hour, although it's 11 years old now, I started it in March of 2014. It really exploded after COVID. And, I'm not from Arizona. You may be able to tell or not.
No, really?
Yeah. And, I was the new kid when I moved out here in 2011. I hadn't been the new kid other than in the service and then 1 year of college. And I didn't like being the new kid. It's not that fun, right? You don't know anybody. When you're in business, well, people are the engine that drives business. And I didn't have any people. I was in a new industry, a new career, in a new state with a young family at the time, and I needed to meet people. So I joined every single networking organization that I could: Chambers of Commerce, BNI, and Networking Phoenix, and LaTip, and all these other ones. I had never done it before, so I didn't even know how to do it, and I wasn't very good at it. I was like one of those guys that's like machine gun, just hucking cards at people and shit like that, How many people can I meet at this event, And I'd meet like 15 or 20 or 25 people, and I'm like, this is great. And then following up with them, I'm good at that. But wow, it was not easy to go to 2, 3, 4 events a day and follow up with that many people constantly. I'm not a huge technology guy, so I didn't have a CRM or anything like that. And then I was like, well, I like everybody else's stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm like, but in high school, I was good at throwing parties, and I think I'm going to do that. One of the guys that I was in a referral group with from one of the Chambers of Commerce, the Chandler one actually, he was like, yeah, man, we should get a beer as a group. And I was like, hey, there's a guy that used to come here, and he used to do that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a happy hour. And the dude was like, cool. And I did. I made the decision to do it, and that was February of 2011, and 2014, and I was, okay, good. This is going to be like a lead generator. It's going to be something like that. I didn't really have a fully fledged idea of it because I had never done anything like that before, and being from Boston and kind of growing up how I did, I wasn't really a huge fan of people. And, the experiences that we have growing up, if we don't work through them and get the positive out and leave the negative, they affect us as adults. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to, what the hell, I'm just going to throw this party and see what's up. And the night before, I had a dream. And God said that was my ministry. And I thought that shit was hilarious. I was like, ministry, man, that's so funny. A bunch of drinking and whatever, that's nuts. And it was cool because it was during Lent, actually, now that I think about it. And he was right. So the first one, I had 12 people. And I was stoked. Oh, I was so excited. I was like, oh, wow, I don't even know most of these people. This is so great. And like my two friends that were there were like, oh, bro, sorry that there isn't many people. Because we were used to like 100, 150 people at these big events that other people would do. And my gosh, Networking Phoenix was having like 250, 300 or more people at their events quarterly. And so they were like, oh, man, I was sorry. I was like, this is so great. I'm like, I love this shit. I'm doing this every single month forever. And they're like, oh, whatever, bro, you know. And the coolest thing was I had 12 people. And 12, 12 tribes, it's kind of a significant number. And I was like, I get you. All right, thanks for stamping that. And then the feel, even the first one, was different than anything else I had been to. And then a few months in, a friend of mine was going through a really tough time. He'd been married for like 20-something years, going through a divorce. Just, man, he was really, really struggling. And he happened to come to Wicked Awesome Happy Hour, and he was like complaining and just letting it off his chest. And I was like, hey, brother, I was like, I'm sorry, I love you and everything, and it hurts my heart what you're going through, but this place ain't about that shit. I was like, so either compose yourself or get out of here. I was like, I'm not going to have it. Not having that shit here, man. And he was like, okay. And he left for a little bit, and he came back and he's like, I'm good now. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be in the moment. I'm sorry about that. I'm like, don't be sorry. Just don't do that shit again. And like 2 years later, I'm walking through my event. There's like probably 70 or 80 people in a small place, And I hear this guy say to his friend, and I didn't even realize these gentlemen were there that day. I didn't remember it. And he's like, hey, bro, this place ain't about that shit. He's like, so either pull yourself together or leave. And it was just so cool. I just happened to walk by, and I heard that, and I was like, oh, wow. And, I always attend as many people's other events as I can. One of the things that really helped with Wicked Awesome is I went to everybody's events. And I got a tip. It might have been from Rick Allen. Maybe he was at my first one. He still goes. Amazing guy, Legal Shield, just badass, just crushing, has been forever. Love that guy. Oh my gosh. Wicked Awesome wouldn't be Wicked Awesome had he not loved me so much to correct me on my shitty networking abilities at the time. And he was like, I believe it was him that was like, you should volunteer for registration so you can remember people faster. And I was like, oh yeah, printed name. And then I see him, yeah. So then I started to volunteer to register people at Chandler Chamber events, any events I could, Networking Phoenix. And with, I guess, the ulterior motive of meeting more people, but remembering them, right? And it was so cool because Gelly, who founded and ran Networking Phoenix for 13 years, came to one of my early events, just kind of a pop through, and she was like the godmother of networking in Phoenix. She was it, the pinnacle, the peak. And I was so honored and humbled that she came to my little happy hour, and she said the reason she did it is because I worked registration at hers a bunch of times, and she just wanted to see what I was doing and show support. And I was like, wow, I was like, that was just amazing. And, it's an abundance mindset community. I know it's a happy hour and we have a blast. I don't drink anymore, but I still throw a happy hour and I still have a fun ass time. But it's a safe space. It's blessed. It's protected. And I invite everybody. It's one of the things about the abundance mindset. 6 billion of us on this planet believe in a higher power of some kind. Whether it's, God or Yahweh or, Allah or Buddha or whatever, 6 billion of us believe in a higher power, source, universal intelligence, however you want to term it. I just happen to be Christian myself. And the being that everyone believes in, whatever their term, is always omnipotent, and omnipresent and is a being of love. So I was like, oh my gosh. Like years ago, I realized, I was like, that's the truth. That's the key. When you're in abundance, you can collaborate with people. Like I've had people ask me for years, hey, why do you have another insurance guy? Why do you have another finance guy here? Isn't that what you do? I'm like, yeah. Why would I not have him here? That's abundance. Scarcity is, get him out of here. Why would you have him here?
It's kind of BNI. Because BNI you can only have one. It's almost like BNI, because BNI you can only have one person representing. So it's not, and maybe it's not, I don't know if it's scarcity, but it's the practical part of it.
Well, and that's their business model, maybe, but that does breed, it can breed a scarcity mindset in people if they're like, no, I got this person, because not every person clicks with every person, right? So somebody may really need life insurance or annuities or investing into their company or something, and maybe they don't click with me. That's cool. But there is somebody that they'll click with. One of the things when I first got out of the Air Force and got into sales and marketing, our manager and the company owners preached the fact that there's a perfect salesperson. There's one person on this planet out of 8 billion now that could have connected with the person and sold that deal. And so like that opened my mind as far as the problem solving aspect and introspection. Wow, what could I have done different? They didn't buy from me. What could I have done different? And statistically, 22% of the people that you're in front of are never going to buy from you, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter the price point. It's just sales statistics. And I was like, well, okay, they still need it. They got to get it from somebody. And so that, like, all these little things that I picked up over the years kind of cemented as far as with the abundance mindset and Wicked Awesome Happy Hour. That's why I invite everybody. There's people that come that are far right. There's people that are far left. There's people that are in the middle. Doesn't matter. There's business people. There's sports people. There's government officials that come out. You name it, any kind of person has attended and will attend. And people don't have issues there. Even if they're talking with somebody who is diametrically opposed to their belief system, they still remain in peace and love, because that's the environment that God has created and used me as that vessel to hold that space, you know, for people and to be able to genuinely connect. That's why I don't charge people for my traditional third Wednesday, 6 to 9 p.m. at a local spot every month. That's why I don't charge people to go to that event. That's why I don't charge the venue for the event, because I certainly could. I mean, I'm bringing them in, you know, $3,000, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 on a Wednesday night that they never would have had. And then people are going to go back because they had a great experience. They loved the place. They got to eat the food, and they're going to go back. I don't charge for that. I do charge monthly memberships and for other events that I do, but that one, I keep money. Not that there's anything wrong with money. We need it, right? Everything costs money. It's a tool. But God put it on me to keep that one untainted by anything. And so that's why I do it for free. That's why I don't charge people every month to go. That's why I don't charge the venue, like I said. And because what happens when you pull that completely out of it, because people naturally think, what's this guy getting out of it? Why is he doing this? Does he really want to do this? Is he making a bunch of money off of me by, you know, doing this? Nah, not making shit on a Wednesday. I just want to connect you guys because I love you guys. And that's what God wants.
You feel that. And I think that's what's, you really feel an optimistic feeling and so forth. What tips do you have? Because you've done this now since 2014. And how many people, several hundred that averages in now, how many people usually come in? I was like, it was completely packed at the place I was at. I was overwhelmed.
Yeah, it was, I usually, anywhere from 125 to like 175 on average, every month. So, I mean, maybe a good average number is like 140 or 150 or something like that. And it's cool. And I make sure that I say hi to everybody and greet them, because that's a big thing. I watch, growing up wearing how I did and then being in the military, I watch everything. I hear everything. And when people come in, I'll go through the crowd and I meet them as quick as I can, and I welcome them and genuinely thank them for being there. And for the people that are more introverted, like I used to be, I'll congratulate them for being there, because it's a big thing to be an introvert and then walk into that room.
Overwhelming. I was there
Right?
with Lindsay. We're both kind of like more introverted, and we're like sitting in the corner, like, oh, let's observe this. How do we deal with this next time?
Right? Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. And then the energy, it's something that you don't generally feel. It's a wonderful, positive ball of energy that's like, holy cow, that's so much. And and I go over just like I did with you, hi, welcome. And everybody that shows up, I'm so happy that they're there,
Right.
And
But you used
after
to be an
COVID
introvert.
uh-huh.
So how did you transfer from introvert to extrovert? And was it natural? Do you think you were naturally an extrovert, or was it just that you got so used to speaking and talking that it just emerged? Or how would you analyze that?
Wow. So this version of myself today is so far from who I was growing up. It's unrecognizable. And I was kind of a quiet kid. I always liked to, my family I was comfortable with, but anybody else, I was the quiet kid. I just watched, and didn't really stand out, and I was just there. And senior year in high school, I took DECA class. I was in DECA Club, Distributive Education Clubs of America, so marketing, advertising, all that kind of fun stuff. And anytime I had to do any kind of like oral report, terrible. Deathly. I would have rather die than speak in front of people. And I would be sweaty and stammering and stuttering and just turn red, just a mess. And then I'd have to go to my teacher after class because they gave me an F. And I'd be like, hey, so you gave us this, the shit we're supposed to cover, right? Let's go down this checklist real quick. This, yeah, I did it. This, I did it. That, I did it. This, I did it. That, I did it. So it looks like I should get an A other than screwing up the oral part of it. And they would always end up giving me like a B. And from F, grading it and then chatting to a math. I was always good at negotiation. And so my favorite teacher, Mr. G, senior year in high school, end of the year, he's going around the room. Hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? What are you going to be when you grow up? Goes around the room, and he gets to me, and he's like, David, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be the CEO of an international company that does like marketing and advertising and stuff like that. And he was like, you'll never do that. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you'll never do that. I was like, yeah, I will. You're asking what we want to do? I'm going to do that. And he's like, you're not. And I was 17 and different than I am today. So I popped up and I was like, the fuck you talking about, Mr. G? And he's like, this version of you will never have any of that. However, you can grow to a version of yourself that'll have all of that and much more. And I didn't get it. I was 17. I was like, whatever, bro. And, just like rolled out of the class, like flipped them off and just left. But those words stuck with me. And like certain points in my life, especially when I finally moved to Arizona, those words were ringing in my head. As I dropped some of those limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome and the hurt and pain and shit that I fought through growing up and then in the service and just all of that stuff, dropped a lot of that programming and got closer to living Jesus' example as close as I possibly can every day. His words just kept ringing in my head. And now, Wicked Awesome is international. And there will be a better version of myself. I'm not even close to perfect. I still screw up. But he was right. That 17-year-old kid wouldn't have ever had any of that. And one of the biggest things that I had to do was to be comfortable in front of people. And so in 2012, I started doing life insurance and annuities and that kind of stuff. And I did really well. I always loved people. And I always, especially since I got out of the Air Force, have served in some way. Those of us that have served, if we don't continue to serve, we take ourselves out. We don't stay on this planet if we're not serving. There's a hole in all of us that gets out of the military that is not possible to be filled by enough drugs or alcohol or women or whatever, or gambling or whatever it is. The only way to fill it is to continue to serve our brothers and sisters in some way. And that's what I found with myself and hundreds or thousands of other vets that I know. That's what's kept me here, despite attempts at not being here in the past. And so my good buddy that hired me, 2012, I crushed. We drive out to California. I'm gonna go to this convention for the company. The whole company's there, like 400 or 500 people at the time. And it's like midnight. We're drinking all night. He's like, Dave, you're speaking tomorrow. I was like, nah, I'm not. He's like, yeah, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not speaking in front of people. I don't do that. No. All I could remember was the stuff in high school. I was like, nah, bro, that shit ain't happening. I'm not doing it. He's like, oh, you're doing it. I was like, you don't understand. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to embarrass our CEO. I'm going to embarrass the company. I'm not fucking doing it. It's not happening. And he's like, whatever. And so like an hour later, he comes up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, I love you, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you are speaking. I was like, no, sir, I am not. He's like, you are going to speak, or you're going to walk your ass back to Phoenix. And I was like, what? He's like, do I look like I'm kidding? I was like, nope. He's like, you're going to have your ass up there and you're going to kill it. This is what I want you to speak about. He told me. And I was like, whatever. So I go and I didn't even sleep. I was like just so nervous. Like my stomach was all upset. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like praying to get hit by a lightning bolt or some shit, or have a wild animal come in and kill me so I didn't have to speak. Like I was like, no way. And so there I go. I'm behind the stage and I'm like all freaking out. And I was like, I can't do this. And I turned around and I heard God say no. So I turned back around towards the stage and I got on one knee and I started to pray. And it's the same similar prayer that I say anytime before I speak. And I said, Jesus, thank you for taking me out of this. Thank you for clearing me out so that I can be the best message, the best vessel for your message to come through to these people in whatever way that they need to receive. Amen. And I opened my eyes and I hit the steps, and they said I did an amazing job. I don't really remember. I was like watching myself, basically. It was like almost an out-of-body thing. And I remember watching their faces, joy and sadness and just everything. And I got off stage, and the CEO ran up and hugged me. And he was like, I've had this company for almost 10 years now, and I've never had anybody hit me like that. Like, one of the things I do remember saying, we always said, live the golden rule. Treat others as you would expect to be treated. And I corrected him from stage. And I said, in this company, we strive to live the golden rule, treat others as we would expect to be treated. However, that's incomplete, because we expect something back when we do that. The only way to truly treat others as we expect to be treated is to drop the expectation of return and just genuinely treat them the way that Jesus would. And I remember saying that. I don't remember much of anything else, but I remember seeing his face like, poof. And it was awesome. After that, I vowed, anytime I got asked to speak to somebody, I would say yes. From then on, I've spoken to small groups of 10 or 15. I've spoken to 500-600 people. And I always say that an iteration of that prayer every time. because it's not about me. I was just blessed to be put in that space and to have people receive what I'm saying by God. So I just go do it. If they ask, it's an automatic yes. It doesn't matter to me where it is, who it is. I've spoken to all kinds of groups that I was the only person that looked like me and sounded like me quite a few times. And by sharing my story, people are like, wow. They're like, we grew up the same way. You look like you didn't come from poverty and violence. You look like you grew up a different way. And I'm like, yeah, I got some real good stories for you on that, you know. And then with COVID, I went through a divorce in 2018. I get separated December of 2017, and devastating. We had been together for 20 years, 17 years married. Almost gave up Wicked Awesome Happy Hour then. I was too broken, I felt, to go on. And God had amazing people in my life. My team that was working with me at the time, they were like, hey, if you need to take time off, that's fine, but we're still doing this. They're like, this is too important. This is different than everything else. You got to keep doing it, and we'll do it for you, and you take time off if you need to, and that's fine. And I was like, psh, all right, my team is bought more in than me. And I was like, all right, I'm going to suck it up. This place isn't about that shit. All right, let me get over this. And let me be the best host I can be again, right? And that was great. That's when we standardized third Wednesday of every month, 6 to 9 p.m. And then COVID came, and that was crazy. And as a veteran, I went to 32 celebrations of life or funerals over about a 2-year period, and over half were my veteran brothers and sisters that couldn't take it anymore. It was just too much. The isolation kills. When you're isolated and you're fighting through stuff anyway, that's when the adversary has a field day with you. And it's overwhelming. The darkness is so overwhelming that sometimes it seems like the only way out is to make the ultimate and final decision to end the pain. And it just sucks.
That's quite extraordinary to have had so many people gone during COVID. How did you stay? Did you have COVID? Did you have Wicked Awesome online then, or what did you do? Did you take a break, or?
I didn't. Well, legally I couldn't do it for 4 months. During those 4 months, I called people. I texted people, because the calls I was getting were, "Hey man, I know we haven't talked in a while. Remember so and so? Yeah. They found him this morning. His wife found him." And then, "Hey man, you talked to so and so lately?" "Nah, I haven't." "Man, they found him. He hung himself. He shot himself." And I was like, that's it. I gotta start. Like, for 3 days, I was just down in the dumps. And I was like, nah, nope, shut down all that. Fuck that. Nah, I'm not doing it. I refuse. So I went up to a different local place every day. I started the Keeping Local Alive tour, and I posted every single day on Facebook during the 49-day shutdown, a different local place that I went to and supported, whether it was Von Hansen's Meat Market in Chandler, or Shoe Thrill in Chandler, or any of the tons of restaurants and bars that I went to, every day. And then when I would get back to the house, I would call and text people just to check in. "Hey brother, I love you. We haven't talked in a while. I'm thinking of you." And just because it was put on me to do it. And it was so cool. June of 2020, things opened up, like, temporarily. There wasn't really rules. And so I reached out to venue I was going to be at for Wicked Awesome Happy Hour in that March that got canceled. And the owner was like, yeah, bro, do it. Come here. He's like, but please invite like mayor and council. I don't want to get in trouble. I was like, I'll invite everybody. Don't even worry about it. So June of 2020, we had 68 people on the patio of Pedal House in downtown Chandler. And the mayor and council was there and quite a few other city officials and other elected officials and many other people. And we had Wicked Awesome Happy Hour. To my knowledge, there was no other live events official at that time in the state of Arizona or in the country. Couldn't do it in July or August. They canceled everything again. Wait, let me see, March, April, May. No, July. July they canceled it again. Couldn't do it in July. So March, April, May I missed, and then July I missed. Every other month I did it. Outside, PPE, all that stuff, social distancing, everything we were supposed to do then. And then I left it up to people. I'm like, look, you can wear a mask, you cannot. It's up to you. You know what? The venue's okay with it. And it is what it is. Whatever you want to do, I'm cool. And I decided, because my business partner at the time, she's like, oh, let's go virtual on this. And I didn't understand Zoom. I just didn't. I was ignorant. And I was like, how are you going to connect on a happy hour on Zoom? I'm like, nah, that's against everything. You can't do it. You can. You actually can. I just didn't know it at the time. Unicorn Universe does an amazing Friday Zoom connection event with people all over the world. And you can feel it through the Zoom.
But you can feel it. It's just so interesting. But it's not the same as in person.
No, it's not. And that's why I decided I wouldn't ever do a Zoom Wicked Awesome Happy Hour. As far as the OG Wednesday one, And so, COVID was tough, and I still have people now that'll be like, oh, man, I saw that Keeping Local Alive thing, man. My brother, owned a place that you went to, and he stayed in business and all that. People went, and then more people just show up. As far as Wicked Awesome Happy Hour, I'm not the best marketer and stuff, and not the best on social media. Heck, I'm going to be 51. I didn't grow up with that shit. My buddies joke with me. They're like, man, you were born like 30 years too late, as bad as you are with technology and all that kind of stuff. And, but it's live. It's always going to be live, no matter what happens. As long as I can legally do it, or if I have a personal army and it's illegal to do, then, well, hell, I'll do that too. But as long as people want to connect, because it's so important. And I still go to other people's events. I was at Tab and Catherine's on Tuesday, their 3-year anniversary of Networked Live. That was amazing. And it's just such a blessing. And then in January 29th, I got to go to Basel, Switzerland, and host Wicked Awesome Happy Hour there. And it's ongoing every month in Basel, Switzerland. They did February, March. They're going to do April. It's an every month thing. And it felt the same as here. I had 22 people from 12 countries. Again, 12. And one of the people that was there said the same thing that I've heard for years from people here in the States. Man, this feels like a hug from my Nana. And I was like, you know what that is? And this guy was like, He's like, it's something I haven't felt since I was a child. He's like, God's here. I was like, he sure is. He sure is. Anywhere I go, he's there when I'm hosting events. Because he was like, yeah, man, I hosted a lot of events in this bar. I've never felt like this. This is so weird. How do you do it? I'm like, I don't do anything. He does it all. And he's like, man, that's so cool. And then it was just so cool to have him say that. And he is the godfather of networking over there. I gave my friend Paula, This Is Me. She does coaching of high-level teenage athletes, kids that are going to go to the next level, and helps them with mindset and all those kind of things. She was a highly recruited and amazing ballerina when she was a teenager and stuff, so she gets it. And so she's my biz partner over there, running Europe for me. And I gave her homework. I was like, meet whoever the godfather or godmother of networking is in Basel. Go to their event. Help them in any way you can. Work registration, help them clean up. Become their friend, genuinely. Help them in any way. because they're going to bless Wicked Awesome Happy Hour. And I told her the story that I had told earlier about networking Phoenix. And so she did it. She did a wonderful job. He was there, and it was so amazing. He was so excited and touched by it. I went to his event the next night, and it was cool. Bunch of people. I had a blast. Met some amazing people. So we had 22 the first month, 36 the next month, 50, I believe it was 50 last month, and who knows how many this month. She's already got a company and a bar that want to sponsor. I'm like, go for it. Yeah, hey, if they want to sponsor you, I was like, as long as they're aligned. If they're not in alignment, we don't want them. It's not about the money. I don't really care about the money. I care about the service. I care about connecting and love and abundance. That's what I care about. And the money will come. That's just a byproduct of all that. And good people with money do good things, right? We bless others. Those of us that are blessed, we bless others. Well, we should. And she does such an amazing job running that over there. And I'm excited, to go back over there in the fall and co-host one, probably open another city over there, like Budapest, Paris, Vienna. There's a few other people that I know, Copenhagen. There's a few other people that she knows and I know in different cities that are like, please do that here, please, please, please. So figuring out the best way, to do that, and all that fun stuff.
So you are an international CEO right now.
I am.
You are. And I'd love to, because we're coming kind of to the close, but I would love to, if you could give some advice on networking, like what. The one thing I've learned from you right now is if you are going to start a networking, and even if you're going to just get to know, volunteer, because and I always say volunteering is one of the most important things to do, because that's how
Yes.
you really get to know people and build a network. But what would you advise someone that's, in this AI world where I believe and you believe networking is more and more important? What advice would you give someone so it doesn't become transactional, but it actually becomes something valuable?
So first of all, get in alignment with whatever you believe as far as your higher power. And if you have no belief, that's okay. Realize that abundance is the truth and the key. And when we live in abundance, we live in collaboration, and we live in love, and good things come to us. So that's like the first thing. And then a huge networking tip: don't meet everybody. It's too many people in the event. If you want to build genuine connections with people, my goal at every event, other than my own, because I have to say hi to everybody, is to meet 2 to 4 people. That's it. I don't care how long the event is. I don't care how many people are in the event. Just genuinely connect with 2 to 4 people. I set that as a goal for every event that I go to. If I know it's going to be huge with 100 plus, my goal's 4. If it's going to be small, then maybe my goal's 2. Also, stay out of your comfort zone, because once you start networking, you're going to meet people. And you'll have friends of yours that are at every event. You already know them. Don't get stuck talking to them. Most events, I just wave at my friends. Hey, what's up, brother? Maybe give them a handshake, a hug. Boom, I'm gone. I'm not there to talk to them. I already know them. They're my peeps. It's all good. We'll talk another time. I'm there to find that 2 to 4 people that God wants me to connect with. That's what I'm there for. So keep that in mind. 2 to 4 people, and don't use your friends as a crutch and as an excuse.
That's my guiltiness. But how do you stay courageous? Because sometimes you feel awkward. And I think when I was at the Wicked Awesome, I was staying with one person. We're both introverts. We're sitting in the corner, and you came to us.
Yes.
And she had this great strategy. She goes, I'm an introvert, so I have people come to me. And I was like,
yes.
Well, that's good.
That's a very good strategy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you met more than 2 people that night.
Right, we did. So she just, and it was such an awkward way of doing it. We just sat there, and people came to us, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then when she left, I was networking, and that's when I met the Unicorn Network, which I thought was lovely.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is such a lovely place." Okay, so
that is a good strategy. It's a low risk, right? Because you're sitting there, and due to the number of people and the type of event that it is, people are going to be like, "Oh, she's new, he's new, hi." And I tell people, I'm like, you know what? Think back to kindergarten. We're all new. We're all 5 years old. You didn't know any of those kids. All you knew was your family before. And like, oh my gosh, there's more kids. So what do? Even as an introvert, you walk up. Hi, I'm Dave. Who are you? Treat networking like that. Be that 5-year-old and just walk up to people and be like, "Hi, I'm Torne. Who are you?"
That's a great. That's a great way to land this. I love what you said in the beginning. People are the engine of business, and I think that's really, really a powerful statement to say. And coming to close, what would you like to be known for in that when life has passed and people think of Dave in Wicked Awesome Happy Hour?
One, I want to be known as a connector and somebody that left this world better than I found it. God, country, family. That's me. And, when I get up there, I can't wait to hang out with all those people that I brought to God through Christ over this lifetime. But I want, when people think of me, I want them to think of that light that God has shined through me. Have a good memory, like, oh my gosh, I met so-and-so. I met my wife, I met my husband. I started my business. I was going to quit my business, but he gave me hope to keep going. That's what I want, to be remembered as a light.
I love that. Well, thank you, Dave, and we can find you, The Wicked Awesome. It has a website, correct?
Yeah, www.wickedawesomeconnections.com.
Okay. And we'll put them in
and
the show
then it's
notes.
on Facebook and LinkedIn, Wicked Awesome Happy Hour. On Instagram, it's Wicked Awesome Events. And
That's fantastic. How did you come up with the word Wicked Awesome? I got to ask that as the last thing.
Oh, I didn't. I had a bunch of different names during the first year, and one of my friends, not from Boston, was like, "Hey, why don't you call your happy hour Wicked Awesome Happy Hour?" I was like, "Yeah, I could," because I'd be like, "Oh man, we're going to this spot. Man, they got this chicken dish there. That shit's wicked awesome." Or, "Oh, the bartender, he makes a wicked awesome whatever."
That's like a Bostonian thing to say, wicked awesome.
Oh, it totally is. It's better than just wicked awesome. Yeah, it's totally a Bostonian thing. Or New England. There's other, some other people use it. But, and it's funny, a lot of people from New England show up. A lot of people that are veterans show up because, hey, they know the guy that founded it is wicked awesome.
Well, Dave, thank you so much for your time. This has been a great privilege to learn about how to be a better networker and how you are making a difference in the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you for listening to the Public Figure Society podcast, where innovation meets influence. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, follow, and leave a review. Connect with us on social media and join the conversation. Until next time, keep innovating, keep influencing, and we'll see you in the next episode.